Hi everyone, welcome. Maryjo with Fourth Dimension Healing. Today I'd like to take a few minutes to explore with you some of the stones that I like to refer to as the quartz family. Now there are 5 specific crystals that I'm going to be talking with you about, all of which are made up of silicon dioxide. And when we think about silicon dioxide and we think about quartz, I think it's really helpful to keep in mind that 98% of the Earth's crust is composed of silicon dioxide, which means that the healing properties that we're going to be discussing today also move out into our greater Earth world when we recognize that the same properties are also resonating within the crust of the Earth, emanating out and bringing balance and clarity and healing to all beings on the planet. So the first stone I want to reference is clear quartz. This is also known as rock quartz. And when we think of quartz, most of us are going to have an image of clear quartz pop into our mind. Now, clear quartz is a stone that works very well at opening and clearing out the entire energy field. It also is overall a stone of clarity, so it's really wonderful to work with in prayer and meditation as we are really inviting in spiritual frequencies, spiritual insights and guidance that we are really inviting down into our day-to-day lived experience. So clear quartz is a wonderful stone to work with. Now it comes in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. Here's an example of what would be referred to as water clear quartz. You can see right through it, although whether it's clear or milky does not change its properties, although sometimes a person might find that they want to work with one over the other more readily. Here's an example of what is referred to as a double terminated piece of quartz. That means it's got a point at both sides, and that means the energy is going to be flowing both in and out from both directions within this particular stone all the time. So it makes a wonderful stone to do overall clearing. If, for example, I'd laid this particular stone right on my solar plexus chakra, it would be bringing earth energy up. It would be bringing those spiritual and heavenly energies down and moving through my entire energy field. Well, I wanted to show you, here's an example. One end of it is more clear, the other is a little bit more cloudy. Doesn't change its properties at all. Here's an example of a small single terminated. It means it has just a point at one end. Single terminated quartz points are fabulous for directing energy. If we want energy to flow out, we simply have that energy flow which flows out through the point directed away from us. If we want to draw energy in, we would direct it towards our body. So working with points that have terminations can be a really wonderful way of either drawing in or releasing out any kind of imbalances or drawing in healing energies. So that's clear quartz, and there's just so much more that can be said about clear quartz. It's a stone of amplification, which is why crystals, especially silicon dioxide crystal quartz, is used in electronics, it's used in computers, it's used in watches, because it does have this ability to really amplify and has its own ability to create electricity. So when we're working with these stones from a healing perspective, again, it is about touching into all of the energy centers, clearing out the entire aura or biofield as well. So it's just really a wonderful stone to have in your collection if you don't already have it. Now the next stone that I'd like to talk about for you in the quartz family is what's known as smoky quartz. So smoky quartz can range from any shade, such as is extremely pale, almost brownish yellowish, all the way through very, very dark brown, almost difficult to see through. Smoky quartz is formed when clear quartz is exposed to the natural radiation in the earth. And it's that natural radiation, that energy from the natural radiation that actually transforms the properties of clear quartz into smoky quartz. And its property shift actually results in this particular stone anchoring really deeply in our chakra column, which means smoky quartz is going to align with the root chakra. It'll even align very readily and easily with the energy center below our feet, known as the Earth Star chakra, which is a few inches below the actual bottoms of our feet. And so this is a stone that's really helpful in getting us grounded. So if we're experiencing meditation and prayer time, but having a hard time really integrating those experiences into our waking day-to-day life on Earth, working with an earth stone such as smoky quartz can be very helpful in really embodying that higher frequency that is being pulled down through those upper chakras, just really anchoring and integrating that message, that guidance, that direction, and that insight into your day-to-day life. The next stone I want to talk about is rose quartz. Now again, silicon dioxide. You may have seen rose quartz. It's this beautiful pale pink. This is a little bit larger, rough piece. Here's an example of a smaller piece of raw or rough. Sometimes you'll find them in small tumbled stones. Rose quartz gets its pinkish hue from microscopic filaments of dumortierite. And I love this as an example because this shows us what happens when various minerals become incorporated within a quartz crystal. So this would be a simple example of dumortierite filaments at a microscopic level get embedded in with the clear quartz, and we end up with rose quartz, which is extremely nurturing for the heart. It's a stone of self-compassion, of self-love, of self-acceptance, and has this wonderful ability to be able to soften the edges of our heart, open ourselves up to vulnerability, welcome in shifts and healing, especially within that emotional component of our body. So we're working with heart chakra when it comes to particularly working with the rose quartz. Meditating with rose quartz is a wonderful way, for example, to send healing and love and prayers to another who may be ill or may be having some difficulties that you'd like to support them with. So that's a wonderful stone that can support you with that kind of a practice. Another type of quartz we know of as amethyst. So amethyst is very often one of the first stones we begin to become familiar with when we start working with stones. It comes in, again, many different sizes and shapes. This is a natural point, which means these points, this is how it grew right out of its geode, its large geode or cave. Here's an example of a very small little point. Just as I was talking about the directional energy of a single point with the clear quartz, here again, we've got that single termination point with the amethyst, and that can be used to direct energy in and out of our energy field and chakra column. Here's an example of a tumbled piece of amethyst. This has a little bit of white quartz. This is banded or chevron amethyst. Here's a very small piece also of chevron amethyst. I love working with chevron amethyst. It brings in not only that amethyst frequency, which works very high up with the chakras, way in this brow, crown, and even above that. It also brings in some white quartz, which also pulls down that heavenly spiritual energy. So meditating with a piece of amethyst, perhaps having a small piece that we slip inside our pillowcase at bedtime. That can be a wonderful way to bring that frequency of amethyst into our energy field. It really does support those upper chakras. Now another stone, part of the quartz family, is known as citrine, and there are a couple types of citrine. The first one I want to show you is common citrine. So common citrine actually is created when we have amethyst that has been heat treated once it comes out of the ground. So here we've got our piece of amethyst. We pop it in a kiln, superheat it, and it transforms into common citrine. This does not hurt the stone, however, it does change the properties. So now, rather than working with those upper chakras as we did with the amethyst, now we've got the citrine that's going to work right here in our third energy center. And that third energy center is about a hand width above your navel, so it tends to land pretty much in that soft spot in your upper abdomen just below your rib cage. So this is the center of a fiery energy of digestion and of creativity. It's a fiery energy of getting things done, of motivation and manifestation. And so this particular stone can be very helpful as we're working on bringing ideas and concepts that have first been generated in those upper realms outside of time and space, slowly pulling those down through our meditation and our prayer time, and slowly integrating those ideas, those concepts, and creating a way so that they become manifest in this physical plane. That's what common citrine will do. Now here's an example of two pieces of what would have been amethyst. We've got this one I showed you already, and then we have this one that's been heat treated. So here you've got two pieces of amethyst, but now this one has been transformed into that common citrine. Again, you've got the termination point, which means that you can direct energy down, you can direct energy up, you can direct energy in or out, depending on what it is that your intention is. Now, the other form of citrine is developed and formed when that heat treatment takes place while the stone is still within the earth. So let's say we've got this amethyst, but before it's unearthed, it's superheated, then it becomes what's known as natural citrine. Again, a very fiery frequency, very much a motivation stone, very much a slow, steady burn as you are accessing that kind of fiery energy of that hot heat, whether it came from a kiln or in the earth. So that's an example of how we can work with a stone that we know of as amethyst. It gets treated with heat, either still within the earth, which is the natural citrine, or outside once it's been unearthed. That's the common citrine, to be able to really shift and do much more work right in the center of our energy field. Now, I have a grid here. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about grids. I have another video that explores that more deeply, so if you haven't seen it, please go take a look at it. But one of the things about the grid structure that we can work with particularly well with quartz is that we can work with the amplification energies of quartz, and we can work with the directional energies of clear quartz points to be able to support what it is that we are creating when we set the intention for a particular grid. So with the grid, what I've got is actually a piece of common or natural citrine right in the center. So this grid is about manifestation. It is about embodying plans and goals and really allowing those to break forth into the world. Then around it, I've got 6 single terminated points, and a single termination again is a quartz with just one point in one direction. So I've got these 6 points or terminations directing inward. So we've got this grid that's taking the outer environmental energy, moving that and focusing that into that center stone, which then becomes amplified. And so in this way, this grid is operating very much as a manifestation grid. And I wanted to show that to you because this particular grid uses two types of stones from the quartz family. So there are a lot more types of quartz, varieties, depending on shapes, the way their structure is, sometimes the amount of inclusions or occlusions that are included within that particular form of quartz can really shift its properties greatly. So you're going to want to check back and watch for those videos. So to check back, you can do it a couple ways. One, you can just come back from time to time, or you can go ahead and subscribe, and that will notify you via email anytime you have a new video that's waiting for you to be viewed. You can go ahead and like this page, go ahead and forward it on to anybody else you think would find it helpful, as they also are exploring stones and crystals for their healing. So if you're new to stones and crystals, or if you're not exactly sure what you've got at home, I invite you to go out to my webpage and go to my online shop. The link is below this video, and there you can take a look at not only the inventory I have and the different kinds of stones and crystals that I carry, and I carry over 65 varieties. You can also sort by chakra. You can sort by element, so that you may want to work with a lot of earth energies to really get you grounded. You can go ahead and take a look at what stones resonate with that frequency. And you can also just explore a whole lot more about the different quartz family as well. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and send me an email. You can go ahead and chat through my webpage. If I'm online, I'll get back to you right away. Otherwise, I will respond back to you as soon as I can. And let me know if you have any questions. So for now, I invite you to continue to explore working with this fabulous quartz family. Be well.